whether or not this has been a good business decision for me or a bad business decision for me. I'll show you the numbers and you guys will be able to decide. With February ending and this being the first episode of the new month, this is also the episode where I take you guys behind the curtain into my YouTube analytics to show you how I did for the month of February. This is also the part of the month where I also like to take the time to shout out all my channel members and thank them too for their continued support. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to all the new subscribers from throughout the week. Last week's YouTube video went kind of viral for me, which is super awesome. Had I known it was going to have an audio glitch on upload, I probably would have changed that and made that a little bit different. But we got a lot to talk about this week. Another month comes to an end, so February is in the books. We have one more month in quarter one of 2025. I do have some things I want to talk about. Also, this episode, we go over the YouTube numbers for the month of February, and it's really interesting because of last week's video, so stay tuned for that. Also, we now have 90 days of data since I started doing the weekend tiered sales, and I want to show you comparison to the 90 days prior to starting that before Black Friday, and now that I've been doing it consistently for 3 months, I want to show you my sales data and show you where the numbers have gone, whether or not this has been a good business decision for me or a bad business decision for me. I'll show you the numbers and you guys will be able to decide, but we got a lot of stuff we want to get through this week, so let's go ahead, jump into the numbers in the top 10 so we can get to all the other information. This week, we had a gross sales of $579 and a net sales of $272. Obviously, this is a little bit lighter week. We still maintain the same-ish volume of sales. We're in the upper 20s for sales this week, but it's a lot of low ticket items, a lot of older items that we're selling on my tiered sales system, which is great because I'm happy to get that stuff off the shelf. So now I can turn that money around and buy good inventory. Also, one thing about last week's video, with new people coming on board, I just want to update you on where I'm at as a seller. You're seeing all my numbers in Flipwise. Flipwise is a software created by Justin Resells, and when you're seeing these numbers on the insights, it's factoring in my cost of goods. As long as I entered my cost of goods, you're seeing my true net sales. So if you were looking at this over in eBay, that net sales number on eBay would be a lot higher because eBay doesn't factor in the cost of goods. Because I had a few people ask me, how is your profit margin only 50%? And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't factor in the cost of goods into their net sales. So that's why you're seeing it here. If these numbers seem a little bit lower to you, it's because they're the true net sales with the cost of goods factored. We had an average gross per sale this week of $20.69, an average net per sale of $9.73, which is a little bit lower than usual. Net profit margin this week's also a little bit lower than usual. It's right underneath that 50% profit margin where I like to live at 47, as well as the average net per sale is 47. Top 10 sources by net return this week. Remote sunglasses holding on to the top two. And that's why the average number of sales is so low. Majority of stuff I sold this week was remotes and sunglasses. However, we did also get a lot of shirt sales out of the way. You'll see it when we coming up in the top 10. We're moving a lot of old merchandise, which makes me really happy to get it off the shelf. And by moving the old merchandise, it's being sold at a lower tier percentage. So that's just how the game works, but I'm happy to turn the products around because they've been sitting on my shelf for months. I spent $0 on new inventory this week. I did not go sourcing because I still have a pretty good death pile sitting behind me that I want to knock out before I bring new inventory in and stack on top of it. Cost of goods sold this week was $68.63. I paid eBay $86.17 in marketplace fees, and shipping labels cost me a total of $141 this week. Continued on with my goal of 12 listings a day, 84 for the week. We had 28 sales for the week, so that new average for me is hovering around that 30 items per week, which is great. When I first started off, it was like 2 items a week. So I'm happy that now that we're starting to level off from quarter 4 into the new year, it seems like 30 is where I'm going to be sitting. Hopefully I can come up with some ideas to steadily increase that as we go along, which has been working, which we'll get into in a little bit. Average time to list something in my store was 28 days. Average time for something to sell once it was listed in my store was 4 months. My return on investment for the week was 397%, and my average return on investment per sale was 542. Jumping into the top 10, Number 10 is this new without tags Wisconsin Badgers captivating headwear red, white, and gray baseball cap. Now, it says I picked this baseball cap up for $4.48. And if you're new here, let me explain to you how I price out cost of goods on everything. Whenever I go out sourcing for a day and hit up multiple stores, what I do is I take the total number I spent during that day and divide it by the sellable objects in that whole lot to get an average cost for the day. So everything I purchased this day on my Green Bay trip was $4.48 average. And Green Bay is the most expensive place to source for me. So this is where you're always going to see my highest ticket item. This hat particular, most Goodwills in Green Bay, baseball caps go for $1.50 to $2. I picked this one up in Green Bay for $4.48. It sold on eBay for $23.15. That's $17 for the hat, $6.15 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $4.44. That provided me a net return of $11.04 with a return of investment of 246% and a 48% net profit margin. Number 9, sale of the week, first remote on the list, promise you it won't be the last, is this OEM JVC LP 20303-009 remote control. I picked this remote control up on eBay for $1.12. It sold on eBay for $18.98. That's $13.58 for the remote control, $5.40 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $3.98. That provided me a net return of $11.15, which was a 996% return on investment and a 59% profit margin. Number 8 sale of the week is this Green Bay Packers men's 2XL NFL team apparel hoodie. I picked this hoodie up from a Goodwill for $2.57. It sold on eBay for $21.95. That's $15 for the hoodie, $6.95 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $5.14. That provided me a net return of $11.19, which was a 435% return on investment and a 51% net profit margin. Number 7 sale of the week is this VAT Pave men's 3XL button-up short sleeve shirt, black with all over tiger print. Picked this shirt up for $3.11 from a Goodwill. It sold on eBay for $23.94. That was $17.54 for the shirt, $6.40 for the shipping. The actual cost to ship this item was $4.71. That provided me a net return of $12.73, which was a 409% return on investment and a 53% net profit margin. The number 6 sale of the week is this vintage Samsonite brown hard-shelled briefcase. No keys, read, see pics. I obviously didn't have the keys to this briefcase. It also did have a paint stain on the outside of it. Somebody wrote a T on it in red paint. I picked this up at a Salvation Army a St. Vincent de Paul's for $4.02. It sold on eBay for $32 even. That was $15 for the briefcase and $17 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $10.17. That provided me a net return of $12.85, which was a 320% return on investment and a 40% net profit margin. Number 5 sale of the week is the second remote on the top 10, but not the last, is this RCA RC1113123-00. I picked this remote control up for 76 cents. It sold on eBay for $20.88. That was $15.18 for the remote, $5.70 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $4.25. That provided me a net return of $12.90, which was a 1,697% return on investment and a 62% net profit margin. Number 4 sale of the week is this Columbia Sportswear men's medium green hooded windbreaker. I picked this up for $2.59 at a St. Vincent de Paul's. It sold on eBay for $25.83. That was $16.98 for the jacket, $8.85 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $6.45, which provided me a net return of $13.17, which was a 508% return on investment and a 51% net profit margin. Number 3 sale of the week is this Disney Parks men's large Disneyland 1955 Mickey Mouse pullover sweatshirt. I picked this up for $3.88 at a Goodwill. It sold on eBay for $29.25. That was $20 for the sweater and $9.25 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $6.57. That provided me a net return of $14.19, which was a 316% return on investment and a 49% net profit margin. And the number 2 sale of the week is the last remote on the top 10 this week. It's this TiVo TGN RC30 remote control. I picked this remote control up for $1.12 on eBay. It sold on eBay for $23.78. That's $18.38 for the remote, $5.14 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $4.44, which provided me a net return of $14.95, which was a 1,335% return on investment and a 63% net profit margin. And the number 1 sale of the week is this LL Beans men's extra large tall classic fleece full zip. I picked this up for $3.80 at St. Vincent's. It sold on eBay for $35.63. That's $21.23 for the jacket, $14.40 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $10.41. That provided me a net return of $15.99, which is a 421% return on investment and a 45% net profit margin. And that concludes our top 10 sales of the week. First thing I want to jump into is talk about the weekend tiered sales and how they've done for me now that I have officially over 90 days under the belt. So again, just to do a quick recap, I had the idea on Black Friday that I wanted to do a tiered base sales for Black Friday to see how it worked out. And I based this off of a video I watched from Thrift Boss. If you haven't seen his video, I recommend it. He did his initial video on tiered sales, weekend tiered sales, and then he also followed it up a couple months later with an update video to that. I highly recommend going over to Thrift Boss channel and watching his 2 tiered sales videos just to get an idea. Because what I did was I took his idea and I put my own spin on it, on how I wanted to implement it into my store. And the big question is, did it actually make a difference? So I just want to quickly run through the numbers of September 1st through November 30th. So this will count Black Friday in the sale, but that will be the only sale that's counted in this 90-day period. And here are the numbers for that. In the 3 months prior to doing tiered base sales, I had a gross sales of $7,174 and a net sales of $3,498. Average gross is $25.44, average net's $12.32. Let's talk about items listed, items sold. Items listed in that time were 1,097 items. Items sold were 278. Return on investment was 414%. Average return on investment per sale during this time was 536%. Now, let's take those numbers and contrast them to the last 90 days. So we are literally going to go from December 1st to the end of February, February 28th. And those numbers are, for gross sales, as opposed to $7,100, we had in the last 90 days, $8,904. We had a net sales of $3,500 roughly. Now we have $4,538, so roughly $1,000 increase in net sales. What was the average gross during that time? Average gross per sale was $24.94, which is an increase. The average net per sale is $12.54, which is an increase of 20-ish cents. Average net profit margin stayed the same at 51%. Items listed in the previous 90 days was 1,097. This go around was 1,082. So we listed less, but we had more sales in the last 90 days with the tiered sales list at 358 compared to the 278 from previous. So almost 100 sales increase in the last 90 days. So for me, I think the weekend tiered sales is something I'm going to continue to implement. Not to mention the previous 90 days were most of quarter 4. It was the first 2 months of quarter 4, as to where the last 90 days I only got the Christmas season. But honestly, December, out of the last 3 months, December was my least busiest month. January was my second, and now February, 28 days of February has now been my best sales month since I started in May last year. I hope I continue that trend going into May, where May is going to now be my new best sales month. That's always my goal, is to make next month my best sales month and to do continual growth. But like we had this week, we had a little bit slower of a week, and the last week of a month is usually my slow month. I don't know why that is. And then the first week of the month is usually my best week. Maybe it's just a reflection on how people are getting their paychecks in and how they're spending their money. But I always see a big bump at the beginning of the month in sales. And already this morning, since I woke up, I had 5 sales, which I think 2 were yesterday, late yesterday evening, and then I had 3 sales this morning already. And I have a lot of offers going out this morning already, so I have no doubt that this Sunday will continue on having Sunday being one of my busiest days. With February ending and this being the first episode of the new month, this is also the episode where I take you guys behind the curtain into my YouTube analytics to show you how I did for the month of February. In the month of February, I made $45.85, which was a 97% increase from the previous month. However, I would like to point out that look where all the money in the month comes from. It was last Sunday's episode. I don't know why the YouTube algorithm picked it up and showed it to the masses, but it did. The video went viral for me, and I believe the video already to date has made $16, if not more. So 10, yeah, 16, 17, 18 really. It's probably made about $18, which... take $45.85 minus $18 from that, and that's what I was looking at beforehand. YouTube ad revenue has not been that great in the month of February, but that last episode really shot through the roof. So I humbly appreciate all you watching. Thank you so much for all your support, and I really, really do appreciate it. This is also the part of the month where I also like to take the time to shout out all my channel members and thank them too for their continued support. We got Repair Gang, we got Shannon Lee, we got Flippin' Llama, we got I'm Just Key, Lone Star Mulligan, Coins Making Sense. I know that of the 6 channel supporters, 4 of them have channels, which are Repair Gang, I'm Just Key, Lone Star Mulligan, and Coins Making Sense. And I highly recommend everybody go over there, check out their channels, and support them, because around here, we support the people who support us. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate your channel membership. Humbly, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This has been an absolute blast of a week. It was my final week, my final semester, my final week of the semester for school. And then this Monday, I'm going right into another semester. There's no break whatsoever. So literally from one class to the other. I did get my finals back, the scores for my finals back. One class, I got a perfect score, A, like no deductions, no demerits, nothing. And then the second class, I got a high B+, just underneath the A threshold. I don't know how that's going to factor into my overall grade. I hope to hold on to my 4.0 GPA. We'll see how it plays out. But I did get a B+ on the final in that one. So those are the updates on my finals for this semester. And then we're going to start the long journey of a new semester going right into Monday. Kind of excited about that to see where that goes. This week of sales, like I said, it's been busy because it's still a lot of lower end sales, which always doesn't factor through in the net sales. But hey, what are you going to do? Money is money. And one thing I want to say is I don't think I've ever talked about or mentioned on the store. I've always wanted to wonder about eBay payouts. Like, how do you guys get your paycheck from eBay? Because since I've started, I have it set up where I only get paid once a month. I get paid the first Tuesday of every month. I just get one paycheck, and then I take that money and I budget that money out for the month on how I'm going to spend it for the business, what I'm taking out for personal needs. And I'm curious, do any of you withdraw the money weekly? I know you can do it daily, or is anybody else on the monthly plan? I'm just curious to know how you guys get paid from eBay and what your thoughts on it are, the way you do it are, because I feel for me, the weekly wouldn't be good for me. I'm the type of person who I just like to get the one check for the month, and here's my pot of money. I know what I have to spend. I know how to plan. I know how to make sure the bills are paid. And I'm just curious to know how anybody else out there does it. So go ahead and leave a comment down below. Again, thank you to all the people who are new here. We got over 50 subscribers in the last week, which is huge and super appreciated. If this is your first video seeing me and you've enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and hit the like button, because that does help me out in the YouTube algorithm, and it boosts my videos out to more people, and quite possibly could be how you yourself got to this content. All your support is greatly appreciated, and you don't have to hit the like, you don't have to hit the subscribe. I'm just glad you're here watching me, and a lot of people jumping in, new people giving advice on how to do things. It's super awesome, and you guys give me great ideas on what to do in my business. I hope I'm returning that favor and giving you guys thoughts and ideas to do in your business. Remember, I'm not perfect at this. Everything I do is not gospel. Nobody is perfect at this. All we can do is just continuously learn, continuously get better, grow our business, and we cannot gatekeep that knowledge. We can share it with anybody who wants to learn. That's the type of person I am, and I hope that's the type of person you guys see me as. I don't want to gatekeep reselling to the future. I want to get as many people involved in it. I would like the business itself to thrive. The more good sellers there are selling good quality products means there's going to be more customers on the platform buying those products. Granted, eBay is not perfect and it has its issues here and there, but it is still the best platform currently, in my opinion. I haven't sold on any other platforms. I am continuing to think about it and trying. After I get a year into reselling, I have been considered to dipping my toes in other platforms and just seeing what's out there, and I really don't understand the other ones. Right now, I'm just trying to be good at one platform, and eBay being the biggest, that's the one I want to work on. And I knew I never wanted to sell on Amazon. A lot of people tell me you should get on Amazon. I have, after hearing all the different stories with their different services and that, I don't think Amazon's the place for me. It seems like they're too much involved in your business. I like how eBay's like, yeah, we're going to charge you for the platform a little bit more, but you're going to be able to run your business the way you see fit, and I prefer it that way. And anytime I did have an issue with eBay, eBay has always been quick with a response and resolution. I haven't always liked that resolution, but eBay is there. They are available. I've always been able to talk to somebody about my issue. They have not always sided with me, even when I think I was in the right, but I could understand their perspective and why the decision they made. So I think that's all I got for the week. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you guys have a great week to come. And as always, no matter what happens, I will see you guys next Sunday. Have a great week, everyone.